Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Silver Solutions Radio, your show for living long and aging strong. We're bringing you this show today because we're passionate about helping seniors and the disabled community. Our show is brought to you by Right at Home. The 4 pillars of right care from right at Home mean that your loved one is cared for by the right people, doing the right things, the right way, for the right reason. Make the right choice and call Right at Home at 877-ELDER-99. That's 877-353-3799. Hi, and Happy New Year. It's me, Jeanette Palmer. And usually I have Jim and Kathy joining me, but they are off today. So I want to let you know that I'm the owner of the Northwest Suburban Office of Right at Home. Our office serves communities located in the Northwest suburbs, and today we're going to be focusing on the Barrington Council on Aging, otherwise known as BACOA. And so I'd like to introduce you to Terry Channer, the Executive Director of the Barrington Council on Aging. Terry has spent more than a decade, so that's 10 years, working for nonprofits before she joined BACOA in October of 2018, and she's been responsible for creating greater awareness and increased services for seniors in the Barrington area, along with reframing how the senior population is viewed. So welcome, Terry, and thank you for being our guest today. Please share a little bit about yourself and your background with our audience.
Well, I have been, as you mentioned, with BACOA since October of 18. I had been working in the domestic violence field for over 12 years, but really wanted to make a change. And at the time, one of my family members was in a nursing facility, and I went to visit her there and noticed the care and compassion that she was given where she was living, and it hit me right in the heart. And that's when I knew I wanted to work with the aging population. And BACOA was an amazing organization that I wanted to join. Nice. So I've been very excited about being there.
I know that it's been wonderful since you've been there, that there have been a lot of changes. The whole atmosphere really has changed as a result of you joining the organization.
Well, before I was hired, our board of directors went through a strategic planning process. The organization had been around for over 30 years at that point, and they were looking to see what is the future like for BACOA. And so they put together a plan, and that's my task right now, is to make sure that we move forward with a strategic plan of growing the organization, adding services and programs for people in the area, and becoming a thought leader for people about aging services. One of our main theme is reframing aging, and it's looking at older Americans a little bit differently than maybe our grandparents were viewed.
Right.
I know that when my grandparents were my age, they looked really old and acted really old. And I just don't, maybe it's because I'm aging, but I don't see people of that age looking or acting that way.
Yeah, see,
today.
I say that 60 is the new 28.
Easily, yes. Maybe 25, but there's just so much vibrancy and excitement for people. And people at the age of 60 or 65 are not necessarily retiring, and they're not necessarily ill. They're wanting to continue to have a full life. And so they're working and they're playing golf or basketball or running or doing all kinds of things, right, and wanting to stay active. And so that's where we're going with our organization, is to provide those kinds of services for people.
And I know you have a lot of volunteers that help with your organization. So I imagine a lot of those people that have that vibrancy and that energy are helping you.
They are. Most of our volunteers, I would say, are older, and they just have a sense of camaraderie with the individuals that we help, just wanting to be there, to be an important person in someone's life. And we have 6 staff members, so and serve over 1,200 people a year. So obviously 6 people wouldn't be able to do that without the help of
right,
these tremendous volunteers that are so committed to coming in every day, doing a variety of things for our people.
And it gives them a purpose too. So I think that everyone wins that way.
I've heard so many people who volunteer come back and say, I get more out of it than I think I'm giving. Yeah. And I just think it's beneficial for everybody to just help someone else out.
Absolutely. Yes. And so we had talked earlier about Barrington. So obviously this radio station is in Elgin, and Barrington may seem far away, but the reality is that you serve people that are from all different communities. So do you want to talk about that for a sec?
We do. Although when the organization was originally founded, it was intended to serve the different Barringtons. We don't refuse services to people. So we started getting phone calls asking for assistance or people coming into the office from a much wider area. And so although we're called Barrington area, we serve Algonquin, Elgin, Palatine, Arlington Heights, Wakanda. So it's quite a large span of people that we help. Most of our services are free, and so if someone calls or comes in and needs help, we provide that help to them.
And I think that's good to know. I don't think a lot of people here realize that. And it's like that in a lot of the like senior service organizations.
Well, people, it doesn't make any difference where you live. If you need help, you ask for it. And there's some things we can do by phone. There's others where people come into the office. We might help them find a retirement home, to find someplace to live. Many people come to us at a point in crisis.
Sure.
Where they no longer can live in their home, or they're dealing with poor health. And what we want to do is to provide programming for people so that they think about these things prior to crisis.
Right.
It just so that it's a national or natural progression.
It makes it so much easier,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah. Because then you don't have as much emotion involved either, and you can make a clear, conscious decision when you're not in crisis.
Absolutely. And we always tell people, we'll give them names of different locations where they could be moving. We say, check them out at different times of the day and night, talk to some of the residents. What is it that you're needing
Mhm.
from where you're living? Are you looking for an active lifestyle? And does this residence have that active lifestyle? Does it provide food? Different things like that.
Right.
Not everybody has the same needs.
Very nice. And so the Barrington Area Council on Aging has been a resource to seniors for 35 years. So you just gave us like an overview of how you help everyone, but tell us a little bit more about what the organization has been doing.
We have critical services that we provide, whether it's information and referral, whether it's helping people with their Medicare Part D, reviewing their plans, helping them find cheaper alternatives for their drugs, whether it's helping with income tax preparation. But we also are well known for working with individuals with memory issues. We have a program called A Day Out, which is for memory challenged individuals to come and just spend a day on their own with our staff and volunteers. We provide music therapy, yoga, art therapy. We do current events with them. And while it's an engaging atmosphere for them, it also gives their caregivers an opportunity to go out and spend time on themselves. Many caregivers are dealing not only with the issues of their loved one and trying to care for them, but they still have their own issues, and they're doing double time trying to manage multiple lives. And so that provides caregivers an opportunity to shop, to be alone, to go to their own doctor's appointments, to have fun with friends, whatever it is.
Yeah, to take care of themselves, because that's what we find, you know, being in the industry for so long and taking care of families that have someone with Alzheimer's. We've seen it so many times where the primary caregiver passes away before the person that they're caring for.
That's so true. And when you get on an airplane and they're giving you the safety precautions, then they always tell you put on your own mask first before you help someone else. And that's that whole thing. You have to help yourself before you can help someone else.
And a lot of times there isn't the support to give that individual the time or the space that they need to take care of themselves. So it's wonderful that you have the Day Out program.
We have the Day Out program, and then we also have a memory cafe so that memory challenged individuals and their caregivers can come for support. And it's another program where people just can be with like-minded individuals, with other caregivers, and they can talk about what's going on in their lives, and they're getting assistance, they're getting helpful hints on how they can maneuver their lives. And that has been a very strong program of ours. And other support groups, we have low vision support groups, the Alzheimer's support group, where people just come together and be with other individuals who are experiencing the same situations.
And so helpful to be with someone that actually understands what you're going through, because they're going through it too.
Absolutely. I think many times that we're going through our own crisis in our lives, and we think we're the only ones who would ever know what this is like.
Right.
And so these support groups are very helpful in that respect. Another program that we provide is case management. So if someone comes and needs help in one area, after talking to them, we discover that they really have multiple issues. We have a family that came to us recently, actually were referred by the police and fire departments to us, who'd been called to their home several times in one day because they had fallen.
Oh, gosh.
And so when the first responders were there, they realized that there was a much larger issue than just falling, and contacted our organization and said, please go out, do an assessment, and see how you can help this family. And we did, and we discovered they needed home health care, that they needed assistance with taking their medications, they needed help with preparing food. It was a family who had lived in their home for over 50 years. They wanted to remain in their home, but didn't have the capability of managing that house anymore. So we were able to connect them with services and providers to get them in there, to provide them with a special medical device that has bells and whistles that would remind them when to take their medications.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone who would come in and clean their house. We have them on our Meals with Wheels program. So we have a volunteer who delivers food to them Monday through Friday. So that is given to them. And so since this started with this family for over a year now, they've been able to still maintain their home and live there.
And that's wonderful too, because then they have like the volunteers that are kind of looking in on them, you know, to make other people aware if there is an issue. But about plugging into all of those services, what I find, it's so difficult for people to do it because everything's on the internet now. And you have to have internet access and know how to use a computer to access anything. So it's so good that they can just call you, and you have people at your organization that can help them.
We do, and many older individuals do not use the internet, and so that's foreign to them.
Right.
So it makes much more sense to them to just come in face-to-face, talk to us, and establish a relationship. Many of these people in that family I just mentioned did not have local individuals. They didn't have family that lived in the area who were aware of their situation. And so BACOA stepped in there and became their family,
Right.
of just figuring out what their issues were and helping them get through life and just maneuver their circumstances. We went in and helped them pay their bills, made sure their bills got paid, discovered they hadn't applied for a senior tax exemption. So we helped them apply for that to get money back. And it's just those types of things that if you had family around that lived down the street like it used to be,
exactly, yeah.
that would be a natural progression. But it's not that way anymore with the way we're all living.
Yeah.
We have family that live far away, or family that isn't around, family that is not involved in our lives. And so we all need help from somebody.
It's wonderful that you're there. And so we talked about how long you've been the head of BACOA, so since October 2018. And then what are some of the things that you've done since you've been there?
We've added a lot of programming in the last 16 months, more of that active programming that I was talking to you about.
Uh-huh.
We added a hiking club called The Outsiders. We've started a knowledge network so that once a month we have educational forums where we discuss different topics of interest. Next month in February 16th, we're having a program on Alzheimer's research so that Everyone will get state-of-the-art information about where we stand with Alzheimer's research, bringing in Dr. Keith Fargo to talk about with a panel of experts about what's going on with Alzheimer's research. We're starting a program in April called The Last Chapter, Things I Wish I Knew, and it's all about end-of-life issues, whether it's trying to determine powers of attorney, getting your financial situation in order, planning for the future, and what your needs might be. And that'll be also a monthly series that we're providing.
That's such important information for people to have, because again, if you have the knowledge, then you can make an educated decision instead of an emotional decision. Quite frankly, when my mother passed away, we didn't ever think she was going to.
None of us do.
And so, we weren't prepared. My brother and I weren't prepared in any way whatsoever. And she had a life insurance policy of $5,000 that we thought was going to be enough to pay for her funeral. And then it ended up that my sister, who had passed away, was the beneficiary on that life insurance policy, and we didn't have access to the money. So there were all kinds of things that we weren't aware of that had we had something like that, a program like that we had participated in, we would have had the foresight, I think, to make better decisions.
Well, and I think that's always an issue for family members when someone dies unexpectedly or hasn't planned, is then you are stuck trying to just figure everything out, and you're already in an emotional situation with the passing of a loved one. And now here you are tasked with, oh my gosh, where's all the important paperwork? What was that person's desires?
Right.
I also went through that with one of my family members who passed away unexpectedly recently, of what were her desires? What were her wishes? Did she talk to anybody in the family about that? And then, all right, did you hear this? Yes, we heard that. Okay, we can move forward. So it really helps family members out a lot. And I think it's helpful to the individual to know that they've already planned for their future, for the future of their family, of what needs to be done when they're no longer there.
I think it's helpful. It's such an emotional situation when someone passes anyway. With my mother, she didn't have very many assets. And so what she always said was, if there was something that I wanted when she died, to let her know, because I could have it when she was alive. But the only regret that she had was that she didn't drive. And so she was concerned that no one would visit her grave. And since she didn't drive, we didn't, as children, go and visit anyone's grave and decorate it. So I made sure that when, she had a burial plot, that it was someplace that I could see and visit frequently, so that I could always keep it decorated.
Well, and that's cool that you had that information, that your mother had shared that with you.
Right.
Because if she hadn't, you could have gone with the assumption that it doesn't make any difference. The person's not there. So,
yeah.
But I find tremendous solace in visiting a gravesite.
Right.
But I have other family members who don't feel that way. So, we're all a little bit different there.
Yeah, my brother never wanted to visit the grave, but he always wanted me to say hello when I was there.
Yeah. Tell him I said hello.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's like, okay, well, we will. So,
but, you were talking about your mother didn't drive, and that's something that a lot of older people have stopped driving and can't get to medical appointments, or they can't get to events. And so it kind of isolates them. And we have, with our Day Out program, the memory care program, we had an individual that had been coming for months to it. He was being cared for by his adult son, but his adult son became ill and called and told us that he could no longer bring his dad to the program. But we saw what a benefit it was for his dad. And we said, we've got to fix it so he can come. And so we started a program called Easy Riders, which is a volunteer transportation program in the Barrington area, where volunteers will pick up someone, take them to a medical appointment, take them shopping, take them to a BACOA event, so that they can get out and not be isolated from everything. And so this individual who no longer had transportation, we now have a volunteer who every Monday and Thursday picks him up and takes him to our Day Out program so that he can still participate.
So I imagine that being like
That was totally my thought on it. I mean, we were thinking golden transportation,
Right.
silver transportation, and I said, nah,
Yeah.
let's go with easy riders.
Absolutely. Yes. It really fits the generation a lot better too, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. And
The way I see
personality,
myself.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, when I offered that as a name for the transportation, someone said, well, does that mean people have to ride motorcycles to transport? How's that going to look?
Yeah. No, I don't know. But it's a wonderful name. And so, how large is the staff that you had? What did you say? 6 people?
We have 6 staff full-time. And as I said, we serve around 1,200 people. So the volunteers are so critical to what we do. One of the things we've noticed, though, in the last year with adding our programming and our services is we're already more than 25% ahead of the number of people we've served this year than we were last year at the same time. And so adding the services is showing that there's a need and a desire out there.
Sure.
That people want to have places to go and things to do and be with like-minded individuals and people of different ages and of their own age.
Mm-hmm.
With our Day Out Memory Program, I went to visit it one day and saw all these gentlemen talking amongst each other and laughing and joking. And I would have sworn that they had all grown up in the same neighborhood in Chicago together. Just their mannerisms all seemed similar and they could all pick up on what the other guys were talking about. But they had only met at the Day Out program, but they had established this relationship with other people in the program. And so they look forward to every Thursday they are going and to spend time with their friends. And they're able to establish friendships with people that they may have lost as a result of their disease,
Right.
with people that they have known forever.
And there's so much loss, as we age. So it's nice that they have that community that can support them.
Well, and I like to look at it that let's not think about what we've lost. Think about what you still have and what you can do and embrace that and move forward. And you might be forgetful, but you're still doing things. You're still reading your book. You're still going out and spending time with family. It may look a little bit different than it did yesterday,
Right.
but you're still a vital individual. And just because someone is now memory challenged does not negate the previous 40, 50, 60 years of their lives. These are people who led full lives and were productive
So
members
interesting. Yes.
of our communities. And let's honor that because they have so much knowledge that they can provide to all of us. Very interesting in discussions with some of these individuals of talking about what did they do in their past lives. And
Right.
one man was talking about how he went out and when John Kennedy was running for president and he was going door to door talking about John Kennedy and some of the responses he got from people. And that's history in the making.
Right.
And you've got someone telling you that story.
Right. And without him sharing that, the history is lost.
It is. And I think so much with our own family, we think when someone is gone, we think, oh, I wish I had asked them this question, or I wish I knew this about my family.
Right.
And so I think it just kind of opens our eyes a little bit about family history, or what do you want to know about someone who actually lived history.
Mm-hmm. If we could just take the time to find out now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember at one point in my life, I was working with high school students, and they were talking, it was a history course, and they were talking about the Vietnam War and how ancient that seemed to them. And I'm thinking, I lived through that.
Right.
That's my history. And, let me tell you what it felt like, as a high school student at that time.
Right.
And so just always sharing that information with people that we have.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if we ever have the time to actually sit and chat and have those conversations. Sometimes they're kind of deep, and people don't necessarily want to have those deep conversations anymore.
It's scary. And that's the way the last chapter program I was mentioning before, it's that get over the fear of talking about some of those things and provide a forum where people can comfortably just discuss what's
Right.
going on and not be afraid to talk about those things.
Nice. And so, how is BACOA funded? Like you're providing all of these education and opportunities. How is that funded?
We have a variety of funding mechanisms. We have grants that we receive from different foundations. Townships have been supporting us. Individuals are huge. We have a major fundraiser that's coming up on February 8th called Dancing with the Barrington Stars.
Hey, let's talk about that for a minute.
So that is where we have 6 local celebrities that are dancing with 6 professional dancers, just like the TV show Dancing
Wow,
with the
everyone
Stars.
loves that.
But it's all Barrington based. And so these individuals have been practicing their dancing for a couple of months. They'll be performing their dances on that Saturday night, February 8th at Stonegate Conference Center in Hoffman Estates. And people will vote for who they like the best. And so they vote with their wallets.
Nice.
And so that is a huge fundraiser for us. And we also have judges who will critique the dances. And so that's a little bit different than the crowd who is always cheering someone on. So there's 2 different ways someone can win. One is through raising the most money for the dancer, and the other is the judges saying, yeah, this person really is did an exemplary
Kind of
job.
like on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of ribbing. People are bringing their family members to walk among the tables and say, vote for my dad, and things like that.
Fun.
Yes.
And so how much is a ticket?
$125, and that's for dinner and for the event itself. And we've got lots of things going on during the event where people can participate and play games and things.
Wonderful. And so if you wanted to bring your whole family, could you get a table?
You can get a table for $1,200.
Uh-huh.
And many of our dancers will do that too, so that their family members will end up wearing T-shirts with their pictures on them. And we have memorabilia for each dancer that we provide, so people can root on their favorite.
And it's right there in Hoffman Estates. It's so close.
It is.
I think everybody should join. I think everybody should come out and support it. So
And last year we sold out with over 450 people in attendance. That was our second year. This is our third. And so we are well on our way to selling this one out also. We're
And
very
so
excited.
How do you get those tickets?
You can go to bacoa.org, BACOA.org, and there's a link on there where you can purchase your tickets. You can vote for your favorite dancer.
Okay.
We've also got a Facebook page, Dancing with the Barrington Stars. People can check us out there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Terry, this half hour, it went so fast. Mark's, he'll put the link on the WRMN website about the Dancing with the Stars event. And
Great.
We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Sounds good. I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.